Hi, this is Steve, and I'm here joined today with Geraldo Lemos Neto.
Yes, I'm very glad to be here, Steve. Thank you for having me.
It's always exciting when you come to visit us, and I just sat through well, I don't want to say a palestra, it was like almost a seminar.
Okay.
And that was very interesting, always enlightening. I talked to Luigi a couple weeks ago about data limite and what we call the deadline according
The other deadline.
And what he said was, no, that's not a prediction. Like the word prediction, he said that was an event that happened. That was,
It was a time, it was not a date. It was a time, the 50 years time that began when man went to the moon in 20th of July 1969. And Chico Xavier told himself about this time of 50 years in a TV program in Brazil in 1971. And at that time he told all of us that if humanity could, surpass the tendency of belligerence, of wars, especially nuclear wars, in 50 years, then we would enter a time, a cycle, a virtuous cycle of development so intense and so good that would go, from 2019 until 2057, where Earth finally would enter the regeneration time. So it was an exception time frame between 1969 and 2019, and we did it. We did not kill ourselves in nuclear wars, and we did not go to the pathway of having troubles, nuclear troubles and wars, and so that we won. And for that reason, we have now a credit line. A credit line of spirituality that will, embrace humanity to its pathway to a new era of development.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I'm pretty happy because of that, because when I heard of this in 1986 from Chico Xavier, and Chico Xavier at that time was a pessimistic, because at that time he was very, very concerned about the nuclear power of the humanity and, the Cold War and everything. And he himself was very pessimistic and thought that maybe we would not pass this time in colony, there was no trouble. And at that time I was horrified, oh my goodness, what's going to happen and everything. Because Chico told me that if for any reason humanity would go to the pathway of the war, the nuclear war, we would have 1,000 years of reconstructions. So the regeneration time would not come now, would only come after the year 3000.
I remember reading On the Way to the Light, where they talked about the Roman Empire and the fall of the Roman Empire due to the aberrations and the moral delinquency, and then the result of that was the Dark Ages.
The Dark Ages, yes.
So that
would be similar.
Yeah.
If we went to this wrong pathway of the war, nuclear war, it would probably last a couple of days or maybe 7 days, a week, but the destruction would be so immense and the consequences would be so devastating that we probably would have to reinitiate all the civilizations. Would be terrible. And he was, when he talked to me, he told me because he didn't tell this in the TV program in 1971. He just told about this time frame of 50 years. But to me, he told me that the beginning of this time frame was the day that man went to the moon, July 20th, 1969. So that's why July 20th, 2019 is the end of this period of time. Mm-hmm. And we call it the deadline, or the data limite in Portuguese, according to Chico Xavier, because it's the end of the time. It's not an event, it's not the end of the world. Some people would talk about this, and it's not also the day that the extraterrestrials would come to Earth. This is only confusing ideas, because people actually don't study what was said and what was written about this.
They just draw conclusions.
Yeah.
And I really like the thing you mentioned in the talk tonight about being able to turn on a TV set and talk to the loved ones, the ones that have passed on to the next,
This is one prediction of Chico Xavier, that he told me that we would have this here on Earth in this 21st century, maybe in 2050, around 2050. But he told me that this discovery would be, will not be something that was going to be focused to find this.
Like an incident or accident or
something?
Incidental.
Yeah, like an accident. Because he told me that the factories of TVs would improve themselves to the point that they would discover the spiritual world. And for an accident, not focused on that, and they would tell to the other side, where does this come from, which country or where, and they would say no, this is from America or wherever, from the spiritual world. You were talking to us. We are human spirits, disconnected human spirits, and from that time on, the afterlife would be scientifically proven.
Yeah, I liked when you said it, because I just immediately started thinking, like, if it was that obvious to people, like concretely, that there is an afterlife, and you could see it like on a screen, and you could talk to it, and you would get the confirmation.
Would be a fact.
It would just be like, it would change the way people think.
Like he told me, it would be a change in the paradigm. The life after death will be a known fact, not a philosophical nor a religion, thought, but a scientific fact from this time on.
And just like Spiritism, Allan Kardec said, Spiritism is I don't know if he said a cure, but it's a defense against suicide and depression and all these negative thought forms that lead us to unconsciously like kill ourselves.
Yeah.
Just the idea, knowing that there is definitely an afterlife. Yeah. Just like for me, it gave me a lot of hope in my life. Yeah. And I haven't had direct contact with it. Yes. I just believe.
Just by reasoning.
Just by reason.
Yeah. Because we just focus not on this material life, not on those years so close to us, but we understand that we are spirits and we will live forever, and we have a path of evolution that has no boundaries.
So cool.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. You can watch above at night, the skies, and dream about the stars and the galaxies and everything that will come to someday to our knowledge, and that's the way it is. Lots to know yet.
Mm-hmm. I really appreciate you coming and talking to us.
I'm very glad to be here. Thank you.
Check us out on YouTube at Living Spiritism, and you can find
also
Geraldinho.
Yes, Portal Saber Espiritismo.
And I'll put links in the description below. So thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.